Yeah, welcome to another episode of Mr. Z and Fifth. All right, I'm your host, the Fifth General. Zacchaeus is in the building. What's going on?
Yeah. We good. We in the place, man. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Feels good to be in another episode. Feels good, man. For sure.
Okay. So we just saw uh, over the weekend, Biggie. I got a story to tell. Original documentary, specifically for Netflix. You know what I'm saying? Pretty good. There's been a lot of I would say this is what I would say. There's a lot of documentaries on Biggie. Like there's like documentary specials. There's several documentaries out there. I can't name them all.
Yeah.
We have the biopic movie, The Notorious. This is
Yes.
this is what I did. A lot of things that I've seen in the documentary, I've already seen in other documentaries. Not a bad thing at all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not saying it's repetitive.
Yeah.
But this documentary did have some exclusive footage and interviews that you may not have seen. It's hard to do so much on Big because he's dead. He's been dead for years, so you can only use so much material.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can only use so much. So, what was your take on the documentary before we get into the specifics? Just like a brief thoughts on it.
I thought it was a definitely good definitely good exposure because the thing is that now with it, you see they went down to I thought it was a good exposure to bring up Biggie again and to bring it up and to definitely bring it on Netflix. I thought it was very good, and I thought it was definitely something for other people in this generation to see and to look on,
Right.
because those who missed the last documentary that came on Biggie, they can Netflix has did a good job of bringing this one, so we can definitely view this documentary. So I think it's a good idea that they bring it out again, and this time instead of the Notorious biopic, they called it Biggie, which I thought is very good for that, and it had a lot of footage that you probably didn't even know.
Right.
So I'm glad that another documentary that we're able to reflect on, and able to talk about, and able to expand on. So yeah, this one is a good one.
Right. Okay. So, anybody in the documentary that you didn't see that you wish you would have saw? People that that are connected to Big's life.
In this documentary, let me see. I'm trying to think because, of course, I'm glad they had Faith Evans in there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they had Little C's in there, and I'm glad they had the brother that ran with him during this time when he was not doing music, hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
The brother that ran with him on the streets when he was hustling. I'm glad that Brad, he was part of the documentary.
D-Rock.
So let me, yeah, Keep Rock. So I'm glad they kind of brought that up. So let me see. I'm trying to think of anybody that was not that in Big's life. But let me see. I'm trying to think.
How about his kids? They wasn't in the documentary talking.
Yeah. You know what? Come to think about it, I didn't see his kids. That's right.
Exactly.
I thought in this documentary would have had his kids talking about their father now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I thought with this new documentary that his kids, because his kids are older now.
Right.
His kids are older now. So I thought they would have, his son and daughter, I thought they would have been able to talk about their, I guess they were young. They probably didn't want to bring them on because they were like, oh, well, when Biggie was gone, they were small.
Yeah.
But they can, but Biggie music is still playing now. If you listen to, on some radio stations across the country, they will play some of the throwbacks, and Biggie Small's music was still till this day is being played. So that it would have been nice if you'd have seen his daughter and his son say a little something, to say that they missed their dad, and not only that, his dad is inspired a whole, inspired a generation, a new up and coming generation. Because remember, Biggie died in '97.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the day he died.
Mm-hmm.
So he died in '97. So they could have, I guess they could have said something like how much Biggie, because they see portraits of their father, they hear the music on the radio, and what's so good about this generation is that they could go to iTunes and I this is one thing I hope though, and I hope royalties go to his kids, to his family, Miss Wallace. That's what I hope for, So yeah, to answer that question, yeah, that's right, man. You brought it, you hit it on the nail. I wish his kids would have been in it, I mean, they couldn't talk the way how they talk like P Diddy or the brother that ran with him or
Lil C's.
Yeah,
How
or
about
Lil C's or Lil Kim or Faith Evans.
you mentioned Lil Kim. Lil Kim wasn't in it.
Hmm?
I said you just mentioned Lil Kim, and Lil Kim wasn't in this documentary speaking.
Yeah, well, that's another person that I thought that would have been there.
Yeah,
It's Kim. I I thought Little Kim would have been in there, but Faith Evans was there.
Mm-hmm.
But Little Kim, speaking about Little Kim definitely should have been there, because the thing is this: when Biggie was rhyming, beginning to rhyme in his early stages in Brooklyn, he ran into Little Kim,
mm-hmm.
and Little Kim was already recorded in the studio at that time. She was recording too. So yeah, Little Kim should have been there too. Come to think of it, yeah.
I would have loved to hear her side, and we haven't really gotten her side documented in a proper way, because she hasn't had much involvement with the telling of Biggie's story throughout the years. So I would like to get her perspective. No Charlie Baltimore, not shown. Here's the thing. This documentary, I get it. It has a specific theme. It's not just about Biggie's career. It's supposed to be about his early life leading up to his career. Now you have to cover his career, because if you want to tell a story about Big, you got to tell it from start to finish. I get that. I personally would have liked to have seen more people from Big's his personal friends. Yes, I have no problem with that. That's not my critique.
Yeah.
Biggie also had industry friends too. A lot of rappers.
Yeah.
We didn't really get a chance to see their comments and everything.
Right.
Not with this documentary. Now, we've seen other documentaries. We've seen Behind the Musics and all type of stuff with Big.
Yeah.
Bad boy documentaries and all of that. And we've seen other rappers in that. I personally would have had liked to see more people that was in Biggie's life, that we know that was in Biggie's life throughout his career and stuff like that. I just wish we would have got their thoughts and stuff like that. But this is the first time I see the documentary with them mentioning his boy O. Now, for those who remember on Life After Death, if you're Biggie fans, like such as myself and Zacchaeus, if you listen to Life After Death, there's a little intro to a song, kind of like a skit, sort of. Well, not like a skit, but just an intro to a song or whatever, or outro. And Big talks about his man's O. And this is the first time I've seen a documentary where they actually talk about O. So I thought that was interesting. I thought that was kind of like a big deal with the documentary by mentioning him.
One thing I like about the documentary, is like they took it back when Miss Wallace, his mother, took him to Jamaica.
Yep.
And I didn't know. See, but one thing I like about the documentary is when they mentioned him going to Jamaica as a boy, and he was hanging with his uncle, and he met with his grandmother, and that and the connection to him and the music from Jamaica,
Yeah.
And then when you could play as a little boy in Jamaica, because other documentaries didn't mention that, but it's just that.
There's been some. They probably don't spend as much time on it as this one. I'll admit that.
Really spend time on it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was very, very interesting, and big up to Mrs. Wallace, man, because Miss Biggie mother,
Valletta.
She really spoke a lot on her son Christopher in this documentary.
Yeah.
And I admired that she really, and she went through I remember the little. I laughed a little bit when she was when Biggie was hustling, and he brought the plate and had and she checked through. She was every mother looks through the son's room or the daughter's room, and she probably was going through the room. She thought it was a mess, and there was a plate
with crack on it.
Crack on it, and she thought it was mashed potatoes. So she threw it in the
in the garbage.
And Biggie said, "Mom," he came in the room and said, "Mom." She said, "Why you put some dried up mashed potatoes on the plate?" And he looked at, he said, "Mom, that is not mashed potatoes."
Yeah, that ain't no mashed potatoes. That's one of the that's one of the funniest scenes in the Notorious movie, because they put that in the movie.
Yeah.
Where Angela Bassett playing Valletta Wallace.
Oh, she did a good job in that movie. She did a good job.
She did the accent and everything.
Yeah, she did a good job.
Yeah. Yo, so what? I wish we would have got to see more Junior Mafia, background, and I mean we got to see the background, but I wish we would have saw more Junior Mafia from a musically involvement with the documentary.
Speaking about Junior Mafia, Little Kim was not really much although she was a big part of Junior Mafia.
Yeah, huge part.
Yeah, her part was definitely the interview part, but her presence wasn't there so much in this documentary.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if there's some type of what do you call some type of disclosure, non-disclosure, or whatever, some type of where you can't say anything. I don't know if they're gonna get sued. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's probably why, because they showed footage of Kim performing on stage. And they showed the whatever footage documented when they was on tour and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
So they probably don't have license to talk about Kim like that. That's probably what it is. It's possible. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they could have asked her to do an interview. I'm sure she would have done it. I'm sure she loved Biggie, so I'm sure she would have done it. She would have done it.
Look, it all depends on who's producing. You got to look at it this way. Let's go back to when Notorious came out. Let's take our minds back.
Yeah.
I remember listening to this is back in New York, Hot 97, Power 105. I know a lot of people, this is a national podcast, but world podcast. But some people might not know what I'm talking about. Hot 97, Power 105, radio stations, hip hop radio stations in New York, right?
Yeah.
I remember a particular interview where Kim was pretty much upset because Lil' Kim was pretty much upset because of her lack of involvement in the Notorious movie, and she didn't co-sign on Atari Norton playing her in the film. Atari Norton, for those who, y'all should know, from Power, from 3LW first, but from Power, actress, singer, actress. So,
right.
I think at the time, I don't want to start no rumors. I think what was not clear was her relationship with Valletta Wallace at the time. We got to remember, Valletta Wallace was basically one of the main executive producers of the Notorious film. So if you're not good with her, then you won't be involved.
Right.
So maybe this documentary, and maybe I didn't pay attention to the credits,
Mm-hmm.
But if that's the same situation with this documentary, then that would explain Kim not being there. You know, to give her side. I think that would explain that.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because who has control over the production is going to determine who is going to be for the choosing of the interviews and stuff like that. You know, you control that. Who produces it controls that. Like if you have control over something, you pick who you want. Now people can suggest something,
right?
But that doesn't mean that you're with it. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing about that. Zach, what you got to say about that, Zacchaeus?
Yeah, I think when you have full control of your production,
yeah,
you can decide who could be in it and who not. But if I do production,
right,
I want everybody involved. You know?
yeah. Nah, that's
I'll
a
be
fact.
because that's what makes it interesting. That's what makes it like.
But you gotta look at it this way: Biggie's dead, so he can't speak for himself. He can't say, "Mom, I want her to talk."
Right? No, he can't. He can't speak for himself. No.
That's what makes that hard. When somebody dies,
yeah,
that's what makes this hard. Like they about to do this Michael Jackson movie. I don't know what the heck that's gonna look like, but we don't know who's involved.
Wait a minute, Michael Jackson has a movie coming out?
Well, supposedly they were working on this Michael Jackson movie for years. You know, and they casted who they casted for it.
That's what I heard.
Go ahead, Zacchaeus.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. What were you about to say?
Yeah, this is what I heard, man. I heard that they was going to choose a white man to play Michael Jackson. If they only do that, I am not watching.
Yo, you heard what I
heard that. Yeah, hey, I heard that a couple of years ago. I heard that. You know? And I'm like, man.
You heard what I heard. What I heard was light-skinned Michael Jackson, post-vitiligo Michael Jackson was supposed to be a white actor, and black Michael Jackson is going to be black. As opposed to having a black actor, such as years ago when they did that little corny Michael Jackson movie and they had Flex play play Michael.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember that. I remember that film. I remember it actually.
Well,
I remember it.
They
listen.
They did makeup when he transitioned in vitiligo. So, but they had a black actor. Now, from what I'm hearing, they're changing up things. So, what you got to say? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nah, I remember seeing that movie, that film. Flex played Michael Jackson. I thought, to be honest with you, I said that, you know what, he at least they have a brother playing them, you know.
Yeah.
But this, you know, and yo, this is going back to Biggie. Now, this is going back to Biggie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the man that played in the movie called Notorious.
Oh, you're talking about Jamal Barrow, Gravy.
Yes, he paid. Listen, nobody else played Biggie as. I don't think nobody else can play Biggie as good as him. I don't think so.
Well, he did a good job. He was coached well. That was his acting debut.
The way they picked the perfect man to play Biggie Smalls.
Right.
They picked a perfect man. I mean, I don't think anybody can test that, man, because some people are just made and born for certain roles, and he was born for that role, man. I'm telling you. He did a good. He not only did a good job, he just you felt Biggie when you looked at him.
Facts.
Because like he kind of resembled him in a way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did. He kind of resembled him in a way, but
well, you know, he had to gain weight for the part because he wasn't that heavy. So, you know, he talked about how he had to put on Biggie's weight, close to it, you know.
Wow.
Just so he could fit Biggie's clothes, because those are the clothes that Jamal Barrow wore in Notorious were actually Big's clothes.
Wow.
Yeah. So he had to gain weight in order to fit them as much as possible. So, but I got a question though.
Yeah.
How does this movie, in terms of telling his life and some of the things that we've seen in the movie, not in the movie, how does this compare to the movie? Like, I mean, movies are different, so they're not the same as documentaries. But there is a such thing as knockout documentaries. I've seen some of those. How would you compare, in terms of storytelling? Excuse me. This documentary, the Biggie I Got a Story to Tell, and Notorious.
Well, I'm gonna go. See, the movie was good, and the movie was good.
Okay.
It was very, very good.
Okay.
But the documentary give you insight on what the people really look like.
Right.
When they sit on the interview,
Right.
it gives you, those are actors in the movie. But
Yeah.
what the documentary does is like you visualize reality. Like, in other words, these people are literally going through the hustling when Biggie was hustling on the streets, and then in Fulton Street, they had the Fulton Street. I know in this documentary showed him.
Yeah.
When he was hustling on Fulton Street. Fulton Street is a popular area in Brooklyn, New York. You know, so it showed him coming up from I'm going back to 1993. It goes in where the documentary goes into specific details, the year, where the movie doesn't give you. Sometimes the movie gives you certain. It will flash a year up, like let's say 1996, 1994. But the documentary. Because I remember, if you lived in New York City, and you went to Fulton Street in Brooklyn, you're in Brooklyn, you went to walk through Fulton Street, are you actually seeing some of the streets where he used to hustle? I walked through it, so I was like, wow. So compared to the movie gives like a quick flash,
Right?
But it goes into the storyline on how. The storyline of what he went through in the storyline, but the documentary goes into details where people he actually interviewing Faith Evans, Miss Wallace, and certain people and Mr. C, you know, that actually interacted with Biggie and sat down and went through the hustle. And what documentaries do is they give you a specific hustle and a specific time when Biggie was going through. Where movies, they focus mainly on the storyline, you know, and the storyline to make it a good storyline to put it on film. But the documentary now goes into the specific detail per detail, you know. Yeah.
So now you're right. Because documentary comes from the word documentation. You know, documentation comes from document. So a documentary, it is going to be more detailed. It is going to be more, it's going to explain more things. It's going to dive into certain things. What I liked about the documentary was when they started talking about the street that Biggie grew up on, C's was on, D-Rock was on, where O lived. And
exactly.
I like how it talked about the history of what was that spot called? Clinton Hill?
Clinton Hill. Yeah.
Okay.
In Brooklyn. Yeah.
I learned some things historically about Clinton Hill for the first time. I didn't know. I like that about the documentary, man. When it talked about the culture and stuff like that. Yeah,
it
go
goes
ahead.
into Clinton Hill, it goes into Fulton Street, it goes into the specific streets.
Yep.
Documentary goes into the Pacific streets where he hung,
right,
and the Pacific streets where he lived, and where he used to, and where and I didn't even know that Big had a connection with a jazz singer,
me
with
neither.
a jazz musician.
Yeah, me neither.
Old time jazz musician. I didn't know that Big. We didn't know that Big like jazz like that. You know?
No. Well, because what I liked about this, about I Got a Story to Tell was. We saw things in this that we didn't see in any other showing of him. That's what also made this special. You got to see that background. You got, like you said, they showed more into his Jamaican background, where his parents and everything. You know, his grandmother. You got to see that. His grandmother was actually in this documentary. I didn't even know he would even have a grandmother still alive.
I didn't know that either.
That shocked me.
That's what surprised me.
She was 96. You know? Said she was 96 years old.
Yeah. God bless her.
God bless her for real. God bless her for longevity. So you got to see that. Man, I wonder how old Biggie would be if he was still alive, man.
Biggie was born in 1972.
Yeah.
Biggie would be 49 or 48, or
Okay.
49, 49.
Okay.
Biggie would be 49 years old
Yeah.
if he was,
If he was still,
cause
yeah.
yeah, he'd be 49 years old because he was born 1972.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be about well, pushing 49 now.
Mm-hmm.
He still
Yeah.
be a young man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still be a young man
Right.
because yeah,
So this
yeah,
docu
he's a young man.
so this documentary, I don't want to skip nothing, but if I skipped it, I'll come back. This documentary mentioned Pac. Now, we know that you can't tell Biggie's story without Pac
Right.
because that's just part of Biggie's history, his musical history, his friendship with Pac. It's always going to be told. No different from Pac. I've seen many, whether it's All Eyes on Me movie, whether it's Pac documentaries. A lot of Pac documentaries I've seen have the involvement with Biggie. So it's like it goes hand in hand.
Yes.
What was your take on? Was there anything that you saw when they started talking about Pac that you haven't already known about Biggie and Pac and their relationship in this documentary?
Everything that they spoke about in this documentary, I knew from before,
Yeah.
from past documentaries and the movie Notorious. But even beyond that, because remember, I grew up around the 80s and 90s,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen things unfold. I remember when I was around when Pac was killed and Biggie 1996.
Yeah.
I was around. I was around way before that time in the 90s. I remember when they were cool with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, the thing is that and then it goes into when he got shot and everything in 1995. So it's like this, and so everything that that they shown in this documentary, I've actually seen in past documentaries, and even in the movie Notorious. So even in the Pac movie, it just showed that it's like a connection. They had a connection.
Yeah.
They had a strong connection. So I think they've covered everything that went down, But I think in this particular documentary, Pac they spoke about Pac a little bit. They mentioned Pac a few times already.
Yeah.
And they mentioned the East Coast West Coast beef. They showed the Source Award. They showed different. So everything that I've known before, I've seen it already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just I don't think it was anything that I didn't not know that they spoke about with the relationship between Pac and Biggie. It's a lot to him. I know it was for them to do that, it'll be a lot for them to impact. They didn't want to take it off of Biggie so much because that beef was big. Because remember back then, for young, I'm talking to the young people that don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Pac and to have hip hop, that hip hop rivalry. This is way before. No, this is way before. 50 Cent and Ja Rule, this beef was serious. You got a whole two coast. Back then was that was real hip hop talk. That was big hip hop talk actually, because you had two coast rivalries, East Coast and West Coast, and I believe in my heart that the media hyped that up. It was beef, but I think the media hyped it up to the utmost, to where it shouldn't have been.
Yes, they have blood on their hands because I remember, and we've talked about this on old shows.
Yeah.
Vibe magazine. I always hold Vibe magazine responsible for this. Vibe magazine had an interview with Biggie and Pac. It was a bad boy thing.
Yeah.
They put on the cover East versus West. Big and Puff at the time had no knowledge of that. They didn't know that they was going to title it that. That poured gasoline on a fire.
It did. That's why I say that in my heart, I believe the media had a lot to do with that. It was overly hyped.
Yes.
I mean, yes, they had beef. I'm not saying that. We're not saying that they didn't have beef.
Well,
but this.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's one thing if it's okay. Yes, we know about the Source Awards, right? Because I know some people are gonna say, "Yo, but what about when they was booing at the Source Awards?" Well, Andre 3000 said that at the Source Awards, everybody was getting booed. So it wasn't just, and I know Snoop's, oh, y'all ain't got love for us. You know,
remember that?
I understand that.
Yeah.
Should going in there, you want anybody in your videos, you know, they all held responsible for that. But that, the Source Awards, that atmosphere was crazy. Because even Charcoal Quest, even Q-Tip talked about how it was. That whole night was just, they shouldn't even had the awards. It was just the atmosphere at the time. It didn't matter where you was from. It didn't matter where you was from. You had New York rappers getting booed. So yes, the media had a lot to do with it. They were perpetuating. They were acting off of what happened. Was there beef between Bad Boy and Death Row? Well, it wasn't started by Bad Boy.
Right.
So the Vibe magazine shouldn't have said East versus West, because when you put East versus West, now you're incorporating people who are outside of Bad Boy and Death Row that have nothing to do with Biggie and Pac.
Right.
And another thing, in this documentary, they showed that radio station interview that Biggie had post Pac getting shot. I never saw that interview.
Yes, I remember that. Yes, this documentary showed that.
Right. I thought that was good because there's always been this untold thing or this lie that Biggie never really checked on Pac. He never really, like, I hated all of that. And we know the story. We know that Big was he made all efforts he can to see about Pac when Pac got shot downstairs at Quad Studios. And we know that Biggie's crew had nothing to do with that. We already know that. Years later, we already know that. We know who was involved with that. I won't say anything, but look, you know, if it's out there, it's out there. There's no need for me to talk about it. Who did what? But we know that it wasn't Biggie's crew. That the FBI, the police or whatever did their investigations. Biggie's crew was not involved with that. You know, it was some insider people with Pac, sadly. So
they call them informants. Yeah, we know.
Right. So right. Well. Let me keep moving. But look, they told what they told in the documentary, and I appreciate that. I appreciate hearing so much from his mother. This is probably listen. I've seen documentaries with Valletta talking. But I've seen, this is probably the most I've seen his mother talk in a documentary. This is probably the most.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
You know what?
That's what I said. I big up to Miss Wallace because she really had a lot of insight on this documentary. You know.
Yep.
She really came out and she really spoke a lot on her son. You know, she really experiences with her son.
Right.
She really came out and she spoke a lot in this documentary. And what's the brother name again? Is right-hand man? Because I mean,
D-Rock,
the man that came up. Yeah, he spoke a lot too.
He
know,
did. I've seen a lot. I've seen many documentaries, but I haven't seen D-Rock talk so much. This is a lot of D-Rock involvement. I thought that was dope. God bless him, because they're all grieving their friend. Man, it's been years. But this was their friend, you know, Lil C's. I was glad to hear, you know, Lil C's talk. You know, C's will always forever be tied to Biggie's name. When you think of Biggie, you think of Junior Mafia. You think of Kim. You think of C's.
Yes.
You know, other than just Diddy, but when you think of like people that Biggie came up with, these are names that we've heard. You know what I'm saying, for years. So it's good to get the intake. I just wish we would have heard from Kim. But look, it's whatever. It's whatever.
Yeah. This would have been an excellent documentary if Kim was in it. You know.
Absolutely, man. I would love to. Yeah.
This would have been an excellent documentary.
Well, because Kim would know stuff that probably nobody else knows.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And this is why I wanted to hear Lil' Kim. You know what I mean? But that's just how that goes. Hey, overall, man, because we're gonna get into our next topic pretty soon, to kind of end it off with. Overall, man, other than like some of the other Biggie documentaries, and I'm counting like the Behind the Musics and the other like show series that do like documentaries on Biggie and stuff like that. How would you overall grade this documentary? Like, would you recommend? Like, would you highly recommend this one for people to watch?
I would recommend it, but I would definitely tell them see other documentaries too.
Absolutely.
I would recommend it, but I would tell them go see the go try to see if you can see the movie called Notorious.
Mm-hmm.
But I would recommend it though. I would, because a lot of young people don't know the story. They heard of Biggie, they may hear his music, but they don't know the full story behind him. Because remember at the time when Biggie came out in 1994, the West Coast was dominating hip hop at the time.
Yep.
They were dominating hip hop. So Biggie came as a savior for the East Coast.
Mm-hmm. He was one of
savior to the East Coast. You know.
Yeah, he was definitely one of the ones, because you have to include Wu-Tang and Biggie.
Of course.
So yeah, there was definitely
Wu-Tang Clan. 1993 was Wu,
mm-hmm.
and then before Biggie was Mr. Flavor in Your Ear. Craig Mack.
Craig Mack. Yeah, you had.
Yeah, Craig Mack.
Yeah.
So the Wu definitely. The Wu, we can never forget the Wu when it comes to East Coast, the early '90s. Never.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I'm deep in. We could get into it, but yeah.
Right.
But
I was just mentioning
this documentary.
I was just mentioning that because there were, Biggie yes, was one of the main ones as far as bringing hip hop back to the East Coast in terms of radio and billboards. But there were others, but Biggie definitely was like one of the top ones. And yes, it got to the point where Bad Boy and Death Row were like the two main record labels that were actually doing something. So I get that. Right. But yeah, I'm sorry. Back to your point about recommending the documentary.
Yeah, so no, this documentary I would recommend it for so people that don't know too much about Biggie. Right. I would recommend this documentary for sure. Yeah, but I would say if you interested in some more, check out some other documentaries.
Yeah.
On Biggie. Yeah.
And there's several.
There's several of them. Yeah.
I would recommend it for those who haven't seen it. It's on Netflix. I hope I mentioned that in the beginning. This is a Netflix documentary on the Notorious B.I.G. It's called Biggie, I Got a Story to Tell. Very good. I enjoyed it. What I like most about the documentary is when I thought I knew everything about him, I didn't. When I thought I've seen it all, I haven't seen it all. So I was glad to see some exclusive footage that you haven't seen anywhere else, because there's footage, a whole bunch of footage everywhere, but you got to see some things that you never saw.
Right.
And I thought that was good. I thought it was good. And it got you, it gave you a little glimpse of like some Brooklyn history around that time.
Yes.
And I thought that was cool. It was good to see some Brooklyn history. Me being from Staten Island, I don't know everything about Brooklyn, but I know enough about Brooklyn that when some of the stuff that they were saying, I was like, oh yeah, I'm familiar with that. So
right.
So,
yeah.
I thought that was dope.
Man.
Yeah. So Coming to America. The sequel to the original Coming to America with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall.
I have to say that I laughed. Mm-hmm. I did laugh at Tracy Morgan's part, and I did laugh at the barbershop scene.
Barbershop scene was cool.
I had a few laughs here and there, but it ain't nothing like the original.
Yeah.
1989. It ain't nothing like the original. But but I'm glad that Eddie brought this. I'm glad that Eddie. But after so many years, though, 30 years, they should have had it earlier. I thought they should have put it out as soon as that first one came out.
Yeah.
They should have had the sequel, like I would say back in the 90s, like the mid 90s at least, and then bring it to. But I guess Eddie said it's time, and I guess 2021 was the time to do it. But it took them 30 years to put out a part two. So it's but like I said before, I think this one was more musical, and it was star-studded, but the last one, the storyline from the last one was wonderful. It was great. This one was definitely star-studded. This one was star-studded, but I think the storyline could have been it's a little better, a little longer. And to me, this was more like oh wow, look at Tiana there. Oh wow, look at Rotimi there. Look at, what I'm saying? It's like more Tracy Morgan is in it too. And you got Michael Blackson. You got well, of course they have to. You can't have Coming to America 2 without Arsenio Hall. And I'm glad. God bless him. God bless John Amos, man. And I just thought it was it was a little funny. What you think about it? What do you think about it, Fifth?
So I'm gonna just be real. Might not be able to publicly, but I'll just say this. I want to applaud Eddie Murphy for the effort. You know what I'm saying? Because involving Wesley Snipes, good to see Arsenio Hall again. I've always been a fan of Arsenio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, me too.
So
me too.
It was glad to see him. Glad to see Wesley. Wesley really had fun doing this movie. I've seen some interviews with him, little clips. He's been putting on his Facebook and his Instagram, or social medias. So he really loved doing this movie with Eddie. You know what I'm saying? I guess because it gave him because it gave him free range to kind of, be funny. You know what I'm saying? Wesley, and a lot of things that Wesley does, he has to be serious. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But, I was glad to see, that he
was Snipes. Yeah, right, he was funny in this.
Yeah, I was just glad to see, him just live how you want to live in this flick. You know what I'm saying? Just have fun and be free about it. And I love to see more Wesley, man. Wesley, I grew up watching Wesley, as this action star, man. And this man legit put Marvel movies on the map with Blade, and he don't get the props. Yeah. And he don't get enough props. This man is, everything Wesley would do back then, I would want to see it. Demolition Man, what is it? Most Wanted, Murder at 1600, all the kung fu flicks he used to do. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, undeniable. I like them in Sugar Hill too.
Right, Sugar Hill, Jungle Fever, any other movies that this brother has done. And you know what? He's been getting back in the game lately. Hollywood really just shafted him, with the whole tax thing. They try to make him look like some type of villain. They try to make him look like a man who killed somebody. He ain't killed nobody. He just had a tax situation, and he did what he did. He handled that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like they black.
Exactly.
They black
back. He's looking great too.
Yeah, man.
He was. God bless him.
He was in Cutthroat City.
I seen it.
Yeah.
Netflix original. Yes. Great film. Yeah. Those that didn't see it, it's a great storyline. Great film, Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now
T.I. is too. Yeah.
What I also wanted to say was, this movie was shot. We found out months ago or a year ago, probably now, that this movie was originally filmed on Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta. That and Bad Boys for Life movie. So that's a good thing, because remember, Tyler didn't just create his studios just for him. he opened it up and was hoping that other black directors and aspiring filmmakers, or whether they independent or established, use that as opposed to dealing with all the restrictions that you would have if you wouldn't have filmed it in Hollywood.
Right, right. I applaud Tyler Perry. Yeah.
So I want to at least acknowledge that to the utmost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My opinion on the movie, I don't want to discourage anyone from seeing it, so I won't give it. I didn't hate it, but ooh, excuse me. That's crazy. I can't be doing that on the air.
Yeah.
Hiccup just came out of nowhere, but yeah, I want people to support it. Good, bad, or indifferent.
Right.
Because of what Eddie had to go through just to get this movie off the ground.
Right.
Dealing with COVID. This movie was supposed to be in theaters. But it just went straight to Amazon Prime. So there was a lot of effort. This movie, I'll tell you something good about the movie, because I know some people are like, dang, Fifth, say something nice. I'm not saying nothing bad either. It was like watching a show reunion. It was like watching a reunion, because, you got to see a lot of people from the original in the movie.
Which I like, yeah. Which
was good, man.
Yeah.
So I really respected that. I got an idea. This is what I thought should have happened years ago, and I thought there could have been some good money made off of it. I felt like right now this is possible. Eddie should look into doing a Coming to America spinoff with the barbershop.
The barbershop scenes are funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, but I think he could do a laughable. This is possible. I think he could do a laughable spinoff based on a story around the barbershop characters.
Right. That would be funny.
Yes, it would.
That would be funny because it's good, and also you have to include Arsenio Hall, the pastor, too.
Yeah, you could. Well, it's easy because it's the movie could be based around all of that was going on in Queens. So you could easily write a story around the barbershop characters and some of the characters that we know that are located in Queens or just New York in general for that movie, taking it from the movie now and taking it from the original. You could always do a movie based off of that. And remember, you still have McDowell's in Queens, right? And remember,
right.
In the second movie, McDowell's franchised and all of that. So McDowell's is a successful business. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you could always, if you did a movie, if you did a barbershop version of Coming to America, you could use those characters. You could use McDowell's. You could base a story around those characters somehow. I'm telling you, it would probably look like the Clumps, like Nutty Professor. No, that would work. That would work because Nutty Professor and the Clumps was funny.
Oh yeah, it's
one of Eddie Murphy's funniest movies. So, I can see them doing that. That's just my idea. I don't know if Eddie listens to our podcast, but if anybody knows him who's listening to me, tell Eddie to invest in, if he could, a spinoff with the barbershop characters and McDowell's. I think that would be very, very. I mean, you could do a movie just called McDowell's. You know what I'm saying? Just like, funny. Listen, we think about it. We had a movie with Keenan and Kel based off of their characters on all that with Good Burger. So if you could make a good, I'm telling you, if you could make a Good Burger movie, which that was good back then you could make a McDowell's movie. You could make the barbershop, whatever that barbershop was called. I can't even think of it. You could do a McDowell's barbershop Coming to America type of movie, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, exactly. That can work. I can see that working.
Yep.
That could work because, let me see, the barbershop. Listen, that whole movie, the barbershop scenes are so fun. It's hilarious, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hilarious, man. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Our best example was from the original movie, of course. But you know,
Right.
Eddie and Arsenio were hilarious with those characters, man. You know what I'm saying? They could be debating about, like, remember in the original they were debating about, you know, Ali and Rocky Marciano, old boxers. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
you
Yeah.
you have so many current stuff today, and they tried to
Yeah.
and they tried that with the movie that just came out. I get it. They talked about some current, but I felt like they didn't have enough screen time. I wanted more screen time with those barbershop characters, man.
Yeah, they kind of rushed. Even with the Arsenio Hall, the pastor, it was kind of.
Oh yeah, that was thrown.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was super rushed.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That was good, man.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. It's about that time. Yo, anything else you want to say before we get up out of here, based off everything we talked about?
Yeah, definitely go check out the documentary Biggie.
I got a story to tell.
I got a story to tell.
Netflix.
Biggie, check that documentary out. Also, if you didn't see Coming to America, check it out. It's on Prime.
Amazon
It's on Prime. So, yeah. So, yeah, man.
All right, let people know where they can reach you.
Yo, you can reach me on Instagram,
Yeah.
Zacchaeus B. That's Zacchaeus B73 on Instagram. Also on Twitter, Wayne Bacchus 2 on Twitter. Also on Facebook, Wayne Zacchaeus Bacchus on Facebook. Yeah.
All right, y'all can holler at me at the Fifth General on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All right. So this was another episode of Mrs. Z and Fifth, season 3, episode 4. All right.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys. Oh, just for those who haven't taken on and or listened to any of the direction in terms of how we release our episodes. Our episodes, yes, are pre-recorded. Okay. For a good reason, because we work. We have day jobs. We have to fit around our schedules. But they are released on podcast platforms on Fridays. All right. So during our seasons, our podcast weekly is uploaded on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and other Audio Mac and other podcast platforms on Fridays. Okay, just so people can know exactly. I probably explained it before, but I'll do it again because every now and then you have to promote that. Some people listening for the first time, they don't know. So
Yeah.
and shout outs to those who listen for the first time. We thank you. We just some real dudes who just, you know what I'm saying, who just have our own views, man. That's all. And we appreciate y'all rocking with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, for tuning in.
You know what I'm
For
saying?
real. Appreciate it so much.
We real humble about that. We know that the podcast market is oversaturated now. There's just so many podcasts. Very different, very different from our days of Life Zone Radio back in 2008. I mean, so much has changed. So I get it. But we appreciate that. We're going to keep banging y'all with good, interesting topics. Theme for the season, we're going to have more dating and relationship topics. Those seems to be taking off pretty well. And we love y'all for rocking with us with that, all right? And, hey, and if any important current events happen, we're going to always give y'all whatever social issues is going on that really affect this world. We're going to definitely talk about that. We are the black media, so that's our responsibility as well to tell to tell the stories truthfully. You know what I'm saying? And to judge things objectively. That's just that's our responsibility. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. So we're going to get up out of here. This was another episode once again of Mrs. Ian Fifth. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.